Hi, I'm Matt Mallard. I'm the Director of Personal Training and Director of Education here at Gainesville Health and Fitness, and today we're going to teach you how to properly carve your Thanksgiving turkey. So what we're going to start off with is a couple of tips and tricks. First thing is make sure you're removing all of your jewelry. Stuff gets wedged up underneath there. You can get cross-contamination. Obviously, we're cutting a fully cooked bird here, so it's not as important, but especially when you're dealing with raw meat and then going to vegetables, you got to clean everything up, and having jewelry on just doesn't allow for that to happen very well. Next thing, I've got a wooden cutting board here. They're perfectly safe. They used them for a very long time. You can use a plastic one if you want to, and then I didn't bring anything special as far as knives go today because I wanted to use something that most people are going to have access to. This thing I'm pretty sure I picked up for like 10 bucks at Sam's Club, and it works really well as long as you know how to sharpen it. Another thing is make sure that you've got a good sharp knife, because you're going to hurt yourself with a dull knife because you're going to have to put a bunch of pressure into it and then it might slip. I promise you, you'll do a whole heck of a lot better with a knife that's super sharp. If you don't know how to do it, there's plenty of people around town that do know how to do it. So let's go ahead and dive into this thing. First and foremost, I want to go ahead and pull off the drums, the thighs, and the wings. And so we're going to go ahead and start off with that. Most of this work is probably best done with your hands to initiate it, because if you really are not familiar with how this thing is put together, you're going to miss the joint and kind of hack the bird up a good deal. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my thumb and I'm going to insert it here under that drumstick and the thigh, and I'm just going to start to pull up on it. And as you can see here, and this is a smoked bird, so we got that beautiful smoke ring in there. Now that joint is fully exposed. So it's relatively simple. All I have to do is find that joint in there, hit those ligaments, and then that drumstick is off, and I barely even had to cut the thing, all right? Next one, a little bit dirtier on the thigh side here, but basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to insert my thumb between the thigh here and then the breast here, and basically pull along the back until that thigh becomes nice and separated at the joint. Now what I don't want to do is rip this, because it's just going to pull all the skin with it. So I want to make sure, avoiding my fingers here, that I cut along that skin to that pocket of the joint, and then basically all I need to do from there is just give it a nice pull, and then that entire thigh has come off, leaving the back intact. Now right here, this is kind of a prized possession, so to speak, for meat cutters and butchers. This is what we call the oyster, and so if you kind of dig your hand in there, you're going to pull out one of the most flavorful and tender pieces of meat on the entire turkey. So if you're carving the turkey, you can save that one for yourself or give it to somebody you really like. Last thing we're going to do before we tackle the breast is going to be hit this wing up here. Same sort of thing. Work with your hands first. Go ahead and get it separated. Go ahead and expose the joint. Don't do it so much that you're ripping away a bunch of that breast meat, but you're basically just going to insert your blade in there again, find that joint pocket, separate those ligaments, and then in very few amount of cuts, we've got that wing fully pulled off. One more tip that we're going to throw in there for your turkey is, personally what I like to do is actually separate the back, which includes the thighs and the drum and the back, from the breast and the wings, because you've got so much muscle tissue and you've got those really well encapsulated joints. They're going to cook at two different rates, and so you've run into this a lot, I'm sure, in the past, where you've got barely cooked thigh and drumstick meat, and then you've got a Sahara Desert for the breast. So like I said, personally, I prefer to cook them at two different times or in two different ways, just to make sure that I'm cooking the breast enough to where it doesn't dry out and everybody's got to slather it with cranberry sauce and gravy, and then again have a barely cooked set of dark meat. Hopefully these tips will help you out this upcoming Thanksgiving. I'm Matt Mallard, and I hope you guys have a great day.